How it do? Gold crew? I don't know. I'm not flight or anything, but I ain't got a good intro. Like, I feel like mine's pretty cliche and boring. But I've seen some pretty creative ones. I want to make a good one day, especially since maybe we should make like a podcast or something for this channel. But yeah, anyway, as you guys know, we won against the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday in our final preseason game. Unlike the Steelers, though, we did not play our starters, and it showed. We got absolutely demolished, 24-0. But yeah, first quarter, I'll say, we just didn't have a chance. I mean, it was starters versus backups. But then even for the rest of the game, even when they had backups, and we just couldn't manage to score points. Let's go over some stats. So their leading passer was Kenny Pickett, 4 for 86, looking like pretty good sophomore, honestly. Mason Rudolph got some attempts, didn't do too well. Mitch Trubisky did pretty good. Oh, God, I'm just going to name every running back who had more than one carry. McFarland did pretty good, even scored a touchdown. Valladay also did pretty good. Well, not really. Najee Harris also had a rushing touchdown of 4 carries. And Jalen Warren also had a touchdown. A lot of rushing touchdowns for his team. No idea who Haggins is, but he did terrible. Same for Hayward. They were talking about Hayward a lot, especially for a Falcons broadcast, I think. They talked about Hayward a lot. Maybe he's Kevin Hayward's brother or something. But yeah, they didn't do amazing, but they have 1 or 2 standouts from the running back position. Receiving-wise, their leading receivers were their starters, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, but Hayward did do good in the receiving game, 2 for 27. Also, Najee Harris and Shizana had 16 yards off of 1 catch. Defensively, their leading tacklers were Jay Elliott and T. Muse. I'm sorry, I don't know these guys' names. Oh, I do know Nate Herbig, though. He had a sack. Same for Roberts, Roche, and Duque. Oh, yeah, T.J. Watt. Yeah, of course, he got a sack in this game. They also made a field goal with the GOAT, Chris Boswell. Being sarcastic, he's not the best player of all time in any category. Maybe the best number 9 Pittsburgh Steeler of all time. I'll just let that one sit there. Falcons stats, the better stats, because they're the better team. How did I just say after losing 24-0? I don't know. Logan Woodside, 24 of 31. Yeah, he threw it a lot for 196 yards. Heineke only threw it twice, no yards, because he completed no attempts. Rushing, we didn't run with many different players either. Logan Woodside had a couple carries. Carlos Washington was absolutely terrible. If he makes it to this roster somehow, I will be baffled. Igwebuike did not have his best game of the season. Actually, his worst. Receiving, Keelan Harris was our best receiver yesterday. Sexton, Washington. Carlos Washington's a decent receiving back, though. Arcega Whiteside also did pretty good in the receiving side of things. Parker, he had 3 catches. I didn't even know that. For the defense, DeMarcus Holmes once again shows out. He didn't get a pick, but he's still flying all over the field. He got sacks from Mike Jones Jr., D. Harris. That's it. And no interceptions for this team either. Sexton was a pretty good kick returner, but who really cares about that? And that's it for stats. So let's get to the 3 takeaways of Falcons Steelers. Also, yeah, Steelers were 3-0 in preseason. I'm pretty sure they play like their starters in like every single game, so I really don't care. Falcons only played like one drive for each of their starters the entire preseason. Also, we went 1-1-1. Very cool, I guess. So, 3 Steelers versus Falcons takeaways. Now, this first one is positive, but there's something I want to say. I usually do these more broadly, but this time my positive takeaways are from 2 specific players. Laquel London, not Drake, and Logan Woodside. Laquel London was making very good tackles. I don't know exactly how many tackles he lost. He had 1 or 2, but even if he only had 1, the other 2 tackles he made were very Also, let's just go to his stats here. I think there's just 3 tackles, but yeah, he had 3 tackles. But he was stuffing the run, and also I think he got a good tackle on a screen. I saw him making plays and at least getting over the field a lot. So yeah, he's fine to keep his job, even though he might not. Still a good performance by him, I do want to say that. Honestly, he was probably one of the better players on our defense in this 24-0 shutout. And the next player I want to call out for being pretty good was Logan Woodside this entire preseason. Him and DeMarco Helms really showed out. Man, equal BK sometimes. But yeah, Logan Woodside is looking really good. Really trying to fight for that third string job, which you don't see too many third string quarterbacks after preseason cut days. But he definitely deserves it. Me personally, I think we should, but I'm gonna say is that Logan Woodside is very consistent. First of all, I never really felt like he was making like bad decisions. He's been escaping the pocket, making throws that you wouldn't expect a third-string quarterback to, even when we don't have amazing receivers here. Which it's always good to see a young quarterback play pretty well, especially in preseason. We'll see what we do with him. But then let's get to the negative. Despite getting shut out, this has nothing to do with really the defense or offensive skill positions. It's the offensive line. Our running game was non-existent, and even though I do think Carlos Washington is somewhat to blame, first of all, there was multiple times where Jalen Mayfield just did not block. But that's on pass blocking, which I think a real issue was run blocking. We could not open any holes for our running backs. So if they did not break the first tackle, they were going down immediately. It was terrible. Up the middle, HB stretch, just nothing was really working because the point of attack was immediately rushed by the defensive linemen and linebackers, which is not what you want to see. Luckily, too many penalties. The O-line was terrible. They also had like a couple false starts, I think the holding maybe. But the O-line was just bad. Luckily, this is not our starters. Hopefully, Joe Mayfield gets cut because I do not want to see him in the Falcons jersey again after these 3 or 2 disappointing seasons at best. I just don't like how Joe Mayfield plays. We've tried to give him chances. He just continuously fails. I don't want to be too negative towards him. And also, he was cheating for Michigan when Joe playing against him, so that's just the extra minus. But yeah, offensive line just was not good. Specifically, they were never great this entire preseason, but especially this game, it was obvious just how outclassed our bench offensive lineman was compared to the Steelers bench defensive linemen and linebackers. But next, let's end this video off with a question. Will the lack of in-game reps hurt the Falcons starting lineup? Let's add a question mark there too. Because, we had the offense and defense both only had one drive. The offense looked good. The defense looked decent. But the thing is, Arthur Smith runs his team in a very specific way. Usually tight-ended running back based. But the thing is that we added new additions to both the tight end room and the running back room with players like B. John Robinson and Jonnu Smith. And then also, Kyle Pitts did not play a single game with Ritter. So you might think with all of this uncertainty on how this team will run, that we would give them a good amount of reps in the preseason. But no, apparently Arthur Smith doesn't believe in it either, and is fearing injuries. So they only play one drive each, offense and defense, which makes me... And we did well. Coppins had a grab, London had a couple. But it doesn't change the fact that to be consistent, your team needs to get used to each other. And the best way to get used to each other, like it or not, is playing in the preseason before the regular season. And we just didn't do that. We'll see how this affects specifically our early game of the regular season, because I don't think it will affect like week 10 or anything. By then we'll have to get used to each other. We're just bad. But it might affect the earlier parts, as Bryce Young played with the starters a couple of times during the preseason, and that'll be our first opponent, and we only did one drive for our offense. It's a little worrying, honestly. I don't want Ritter to not be used to this team, especially because, last year he didn't play with Kyle Pitts at all, and he didn't have B. John Robinson out the backfield. It's going to be different for him. I hope he didn't need the preseason reps to be effective early on in this season. That's why it's a question, because we don't know how much this will affect our team. But we will find out in week 1, which is only in a couple of weeks, I'm assuming. Actually, I can just search it up. Falcons, Panthers. It's September 10th, so that's like a few weeks from now. Actually, it's like 16 days. But yeah, we'll see what happens when it happens. But yeah, that's just what I want to say about this game. As I said before, the Steelers had the number ones in for a while, so we couldn't really see how our bench did against other benches. We did see that in prior weeks. I agree they were just doing this to see what bench players would get cut. like Jalen Mayfield, Logan Woodside, and Breon Borders, another secondary, who also didn't do well, but I don't want to be too negative in this video. Let's just get to the end of it. So this video was 10 minutes long. Not bad. Let's make it not any longer. Subscribe to my other channel, Go Junior. Get out of here.